So typically when I ask students, what is actually stopping you from being able to fall asleep at night, I get one answer, and it's usually in the form of a hand gesture, and the hand gesture is this, right? We're thinking about stuff. So the thinking mind is typically doing one of two things most of the time and for most of our lives. The thinking mind is typically either rehashing the past or rehearsing for the future, right? So rehashing the conversations you had throughout the day, the argument you had with your sister yesterday, that hot dog you shouldn't have eaten for lunch, whatever it is. Or the mind will have a super strong tendency to be up ahead in the future, rehearsing for things, planning for things, worrying about things, all the meetings you got to get to tomorrow, what's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. So there we are lying in a dark, probably climate-controlled room, comfy, cozy bed, and yet what the mind is doing is stopping us from being able to move into states of greater rest and relaxation, which is definitely on the path to being able to fall asleep, either rehashing the past or rehearsing for the future. So the beautiful capacity of mindfulness meditation and what we actually do in the practice of it is we practice going and getting our mind from thoughts of the past or thoughts of the future. And we practice stabilizing it a little bit on the present moment experience. In this case of just lying there in your bed, right? So the feeling of the weight of your body on the bed, the comforter on your skin, the feeling of the breath just lifting and lowering through the body as you breathe. And then what happens is the mind will just want to go back to those thoughts of the past and the future. And then we just do it again. We just go and get our mind and practice that movement of mind again and again into the present. Because the truth of it is that when you're just lying there in bed, there's nothing actually stressful happening to you. Hopefully not, right? And you got to take a whole other class. You got a whole other set of problems there. But basically, you're just lying there in a dark, comfortable room. But what the mind is doing is many times is activating our stress response. Because I don't know if you've noticed this or not, the mind has a really strong tendency to rehash the negative stuff. We don't necessarily spend hours of the night rehashing all the good stuff that happened to us throughout the course of the day. No, that mind will have a tendency to latch on to kind of the negative stuff, the arguments, the things that went wrong, or kind of planning, rehearsing for the negative things that might happen tomorrow or the next day or whatever it is. This is due to the basic hardwiring of our brains, is that it's helping us to remember the negative stuff, right? Because it's the negative stuff that might actually impact our survival. And the brain's number one job is to help us to survive. So it doesn't care about all the good stuff that happened on any given Tuesday, but it's going to help you to remember the negative stuff because it's that negative stuff that might actually impact our survival. So there we are lying in bed. Now it's 11 p.m., rehashing the past, rehearsing for the future. And based on what it is we're rehashing or rehearsing, it can activate or trigger our stress response. So we can be lying there, tossing and turning, be releasing adrenaline and cortisol in the body, whatever it is, which only serves us to bring us further and further away from this capacity to fall asleep. So what I really try to encourage students to do who are wanting to apply their mindfulness practice is towards sleep issues. First is don't just start your practice when it's time to go to sleep, right? Maybe start doing little mini meditations, right? Little movements of mind into the present for the hour or two before it is that you start to go to sleep, right? So maybe while you're eating dinner, you're practicing kind of letting go of your day by moving into an eating meditation or practicing becoming present for the taste of your food. And then when you say goodnight to the kids or the spouse or whatever it is, you practice really being present for that experience, right? Letting go of thoughts of your past and the future and just trying to really be there. So spending like the hour or two before you actually go to bed, really practicing this movement of mind of being present in your home life, your relaxation life, etc. So that then when it's time to go to sleep and you want to move into that practice of moving the mind into the present into a more concentrated way, so as to let go of some of your thoughts of the past and the future while you're just lying in bed, you've been kind of leading up to that practice for the hour or two before it's actually time that you want to be able to fall asleep. And then what I encourage students over and over to do is just practice letting go, practice being present for just lying there, practice stabilizing the mind a little bit on that present moment experience of lying there. And then you got to be a little bit disciplined in relation to just seeing what happens, right? Kind of watching your mind if it's getting too attached that you're not immediately asleep, or 3 minutes have gone by, now 5 minutes have gone by, and you're not already asleep. Just kind of softening that attachment to the outcome of your mindfulness practice, which is hopefully falling back asleep, and just staying with the practice of stabilizing your mind a little bit on that present moment experience of just lying there, so as to deepen your capacity to let go of some of that endless rehashing of the past and rehearsing for the future. Give it a try and see what happens.